So this Anthropic announcement about contextual retrieval,
Hmm.
it really caught my eye, especially if you're deep in the AI world like we are. What about you? Why do you think this is such a big deal?
It's huge EE. Really, this is about making AI way more intelligent and useful, especially for anyone working with large data sets.
Yeah, it seems like they're really onto something with how they're boosting what Claude can do. Okay, so for our listeners, let's break this down a bit. It seems like Anthropic found a way to make AI understand information, kind of more like how we do, with all the nuances and connections. It's all about context, right?
Exactly. And it's not just some technical jargon. It's about making AI significantly more intelligent. Imagine trying to understand a complex news story, but someone's just throwing random facts at you without any
You'd
context.
be so lost.
Right. You'd be thinking, wait, who are these people? Or
Yeah.
what even happened
Yeah.
first? It'd be a mess. And that's basically how traditional AI models have been working, processing information. They're good at, like, crunching data, sure, but they really struggle with understanding all the subtle relationships between different pieces of information.
It's like they can't see the forest for the trees.
Exactly.
So that's where I think this contextual retrieval idea comes in, right?
Yeah.
Instead of giving AI these isolated chunks of data, they're giving it the full picture.
Precisely. It's about giving the AI the right background information, so it can actually make sense of what it's looking at. What they're doing is prepending each chunk of information with some extra context, which Anthropic calls contextual embeddings.
Hmm.
Think of it like it's like providing the AI with this concise framework so it can understand the relationships between, different pieces of information.
It's like giving it a little cheat sheet.
Yeah, exactly.
And get this, they're using Claude itself to generate this context. So they're basically giving Claude a whole document and then asking it to create a short, concise explanation for each piece of information.
Yeah, it's actually really clever how they're using AI's own capabilities to do this, and it's surprisingly, it's surprisingly cost effective because of Claude's prompt caching, so they don't need to regenerate the context every single time.
That's really interesting. So how much does this actually improve things?
The results are impressive, like really impressive. They've been able to reduce retrieval failures, so that's, when the AI finds the wrong information by almost half just by adding this context.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really groundbreaking stuff because it like mirrors how humans actually learn. We rarely ever process information in isolation. We draw on our prior knowledge, experiences, and our understanding of the world to make sense of new information.
Right. We're always building on what we already know.
Exactly. And giving AI that same ability as well. It's a game changer.
So this contextual retrieval thing, it's super impressive, but I was reading that Anthropic didn't stop there. They took it even further with something called re-ranking.
You're exactly right. Even with those contextual embeddings, you're still giving the AI a ton of information to process.
Right.
So that's where re-ranking comes in, making sure the AI is really focusing on the most important information.
So is that kind of like, say, when you're doing research and you skim through a bunch of articles first just to get the main points, and then you
Yeah.
go back and really dig into the ones that seem the most useful?
Perfect analogy. It's a two-step process. First, you find everything that could be useful using that added context, and then you zero in on the best stuff.
Makes sense.
Hmm.
So how does that actually work, this re-ranking thing?
Well, technically, it uses a second AI model to quickly, score each chunk of information based on how relevant it is to the actual query. It's like
Interesting.
having a super fast research assistant who pre-screens all the documents for you.
That's pretty clever.
Yeah.
And what kind of improvement are we talking about with this re-ranking? Is it significant?
Oh, yeah, the results are really something. When they combined contextual retrieval with this re-ranking, they were able to reduce retrieval failures by a whopping 67%.
Wow, 67%. So the AI is finding the right information almost 70% more often. That's incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a game changer for anyone using AI, especially with these massive data sets we're dealing with these days. This all sounds amazing, but are there any, I don't know, downsides to this approach? It seems almost too good to be true.
Well, there's always some trade-off, right?
Right.
Re-ranking does add a little bit of processing time because the AI essentially has to go through everything twice.
Sure, that makes sense. More accuracy, but at the cost of a bit of speed. But overall, it sounds like a win for sure. So if I'm understanding you correctly, this isn't just about making AI faster or fancier. It's about making it truly more helpful in solving real-world problems.
You got it. That's exactly it. And what's really fascinating here is that it really challenges how we traditionally think about AI.
How so?
Well, it's not just about processing power anymore. It's about giving AI the tools to actually understand context, to prioritize information, just like we do as humans.
That's a great point.
And the most exciting part is that this is really just the beginning, you know? As AI models keep evolving, we can expect even more innovative ways to add context and improve their understanding.
It's like we're teaching AI to think more like us.
Exactly. And this Anthropic announcement, well, it seems like a huge step in that direction.
It really feels like we're moving into this whole new era of AI, where it's not just about all the data and the algorithms. It's about actually, like, really understanding.
That's it. And, the best part is this isn't just theoretical. This has real implications. Think about, like, more accurate chatbots that actually get what you need,
Mm.
or super personalized recommendations that are spot on, or even, like, AI research assistants that can go through tons of data and pull out the most relevant findings.
It's amazing to think about all the possibilities for sure. But, I mean, are there any downsides, any challenges that come with this whole approach to AI?
Yeah, that's a good point. One of the big challenges is figuring out how to generate that context, in the best way possible. Like Anthropic is using Claude for that, which is really smart, but maybe there are other methods that are even better, even more efficient.
So it's about finding, like, the best way to explain things to the AI.
Exactly. And other researchers are looking at different ways to do that, like using knowledge graphs, for example, or external databases. So, yeah, there's a lot of exciting research happening in this space.
That's really fascinating. Well, this has been an amazing deep dive into contextual retrieval, and I think it's clear that this is a really, really big development in AI. It's not just about, like, the technical stuff anymore, but about creating systems that can learn and adapt just like we do.
I agree. It's about making AI more human-like in how it understands the world.
Exactly. And that's a really powerful idea. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the incredible world of AI. Until next time.
Thanks for having me.